Hello everyone, this is Rosemary with Good Journeys Tarot, and today I am doing a VR to Simon at the Hermit's Cave, my top fave 5. So Simon did a tarot deck, an oracle deck, a Lenormand deck, a playing card deck, and then what he called the wild card, where he showed, I believe, crystals. I'm going to go ahead and follow suit, even though I don't necessarily collect Lenormand or playing cards, but I do have a deck that I'll show you. So for tarot, it's very difficult for me because I actually have different decks that I read for myself than I read for other people. But this is a deck which I enjoy reading both for myself and for others. This is the deck of the Bastard, which I know a lot of people are familiar with at this point. The court cards and the majors are from older decks, and then the pips are actually the RWS. Now, one of the things that the organizer of this deck did was change the pentacles to coins, except in the Three of Pentacles, where the pentacles are part of an architecture. And I really love this deck. I like the feeling of it and the way that it reads. Much more so than the Rider-Waite-Smith. Some of the majors kind of freak me out in their RWS. But this one's just beautiful. The one thing that's interesting about this is that this is the only tower card I've ever seen that I like, which does not include lightning. I like to use this deck with other people because, one, it has keywords so they know that I know what I'm talking about. The other part is that I got the waterproof version, so if people spill on it or they have sticky hands or whatever, I can wipe my cards off and not worry about messing them up or anything. So this is my tarot deck that I will choose, which is the Deck of the Bastard. And of course, that's my back that I chose off of his website. Next, I'm going to show you the Oracle deck. The Oracle deck I chose is The Creatures of the Moon by Rebecca Schonecker. And I actually have 4 or 5 Oracle decks now. However, I tend to use my Oracle decks to pull extra cards for tarot readings. And I have specific decks I use with specific tarot decks. This is the only Oracle deck which I read for myself in a full reading. I actually use this on the new moon and the full moon. This deck is one of the few Oracle decks out there that I've seen that has a definite structure. This deck is based on the cycles of the moon. So it has the waning, the waxing, the full, the new moon. It also has a triple goddess card, and it has a lunar eclipse card in here. On one side, it shows the phases of the moon. On the other, it has the creatures to go along with it. And she's done a great job of equating a story about these creatures with the key words and with that specific moon phase in her book. And I really love that it's a structure to it, an organization to it that I can kind of work with. The guidebook that comes with it is really great as well. It has information about the phases of the moon. It has some spreads. It also has a section on the cards themselves. It has a story about the card and then some basic information about the card. It also has, after each card, the phase that it falls in and whether it's connected to the Mother Maiden or Crone. It's just a beautiful deck, and I'm enjoying working with it. When I first got it, I actually went through and I worked with one card each day on the day of that moon cycle, ending with, of course, the lunar eclipse and the triple goddess card. So this is a gorgeous deck. I love working with it, and that is going to be my favorite Oracle deck. Now, Lenormand is not something that I collect. I actually have just really begun to learn Lenormand. But I did look through a lot of different Lenormand decks online before choosing this particular one that I am working with. And this is Under the Roses Lenormand. This deck came with choices of um, race for the male and female cards, as well as the child card. And so it also, because there are two sets of these cards, I am able, if I desire, to have two women in the deck for a reading, or two men. If I, want to read for someone who is in same-sex relationships, that type of thing. Again, this is my working deck where I'm learning, and I was careful to choose one that I thought spoke to me. Though really the words are the only thing that really is relevant on a Lenormand. It's just nice to have cards that have beautiful images. And you'll see it is where I'm learning, so I have little like marks on the cards where Kelly Fitzgerald had gone through and talked about cards that are generally positive or negative or neutral, and so I made little notations on my cards of those to help me with my learning. So this would be the Lenormand deck. It's actually the only one I have, but I was very careful to look at a lot of decks before I actually decided on this one. Playing cards, I don't actually collect playing cards. I have some from like dollar stores, and I have some promotional ones that I got from like when I worked at Walmart. I actually have a Walmart deck. I think I have a UPS deck where I work now. But the only deck that I really have that I use for anything is going to be the Illuminated Tarot, which the back's designed just to look like a playing card. And the cards are actually marked also to be playing cards. I've actually loved working with this as a tarot deck, or Oracle deck if you prefer, since it's not 78 cards. But I like the way that all of the cards are represented within these, and how you can actually, through your intuition, decide whether it's a major or minor arcana. But they are really pretty cards. The only card in here that is slightly different to me than a traditional deck is the Two of Clubs. I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but the Two of Clubs is actually the Two of Wands. Oh, here it is. And in this particular deck, the meaning that she gave this card is actually a heated discussion or debate. And that's very different than most tarot understandings, but I actually like that in this deck because it gives it a unique meaning that in the tarot, sometimes I struggle with the Two of Wands and the Three of Wands because they look very similar, even though they're supposed to be different perspectives. And so I would just say this is my favorite playing card deck because it's really the only one that I have, and that is the Illuminated Tarot. Finally, our wild card. So for this wild card, I decided to go with a repurposing of something. I'm sure that this is something that many of you have already seen or come to find out on your own, and possibly utilize yourself, but I love this idea. And recently I had a person give me a whole lot of these items, and so I've been able to use them. And that is that Ipsy bags make the perfect bag for tarot when you don't have anywhere else to put it. Whether it comes in a big box that you don't want to lug around, or the box is falling apart, or I actually have received decks that had no box at all. And so it makes for a good place to store. This is actually the home of my deck of the Bastard. And recently, like I said, I got a whole bunch. I got this one that has kind of a damask pattern that currently is holding my Mystic Manga Tarot. And then here's another example, beautiful black bag that I got that I currently am using with my wildwood. So that's an idea that I've seen on other channels or that people have mentioned before. That's my wild card today. I just really appreciate the person who gave me the bags, because I have a lot of decks that I'd like to carry with me somewhere, but they don't necessarily have a good carrying case. And bags can be quite expensive. I mean, I paid $30 for one bag that I have, but then it's a gorgeous bag. It's very well made. And so it saves money, to have these kinds of things available. So if you know anyone who does Ipsy and you need some bags, see if they have any they want to get rid of. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, this is the hashtag my top 5 faves from the Hermit's Cave, Simon. I look forward to seeing other people's videos. I've already watched a lot of them. Until next time, good journeys.